What if I told you, my dear, that there is nothing wrong with you? Not one thing, not your body, not your past, not the way you feel on the days when you struggle. Oh, I know how radical that sounds, because most of us have carried for years a quiet, heavy belief, something is wrong with me. And that belief has been the root of so much pain, hasn't it? It pushes you into endless fixing, endless self-help, endless proving. You chase diets, strategies, approval, achievements, all because deep down you think you are broken. But let me remind you with all the love in my heart, you are not broken. You never were. You were born worthy. You were born lovable. You were born enough. Isn't that wonderful? You see, beliefs are just thoughts you keep thinking, and thoughts can be changed. The belief something is wrong with me is not a truth. It is just a thought, often planted in childhood, watered by criticism, repeated until it feels real. But feelings are not facts. They are echoes. They are habits. They are not the truth of who you are. The truth is, you are already enough. Say it softly with me. I am already enough. Again, I am already enough. And once more, with a little smile, I am already enough. Doesn't that feel like balm on your heart? Think of a baby. When you hold a newborn, do you look at them and say, "Oh, this one isn't worthy yet. This one needs to prove themselves before I'll love them"? Of course not. You look at them and see pure worthiness, pure innocence, pure love. That baby is you. You came into this world already deserving of every good thing that has never changed. The only thing that changed was your belief. And remember, it's just a belief, and a belief can be changed. I want you to reflect with me. What if you never needed fixing, only remembering that you are lovable, remembering that you are whole, remembering that you are a presence to embrace, not a problem to solve? Isn't that a beautiful shift? Now, let's talk about the cost of this old belief. When you think something is wrong with you, you live in constant self-judgment. You criticize your body, your choices, your emotions. You try to earn love by pleasing others. You exhaust yourself proving your worth through work, through achievement, through perfection. And no matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. Can you see the cycle? The belief creates the behavior, and the behavior reinforces the belief. Round and round you go, chasing worthiness that was yours all along. But here's the gentle truth. You cannot hate yourself into healing. You cannot criticize yourself into change. You cannot shame yourself into worthiness. Healing begins not with pressure, but with permission. Permission to be who you are. Permission to rest. Permission to stop fixing and start loving. So let's shift the energy right now. Place your hand gently over your heart. Take a breath. Whisper softly. There is nothing wrong with me. Again there is nothing wrong with me. And one more time, there is nothing wrong with me. Feel how your body responds. Maybe there are tears. Maybe there's resistance. That's okay. That means the words are reaching the places inside you that have waited so long to hear them. And I want to tell you this. Self-love is not arrogance. Self-love is not selfishness. Self-love is coming home to yourself. It is remembering your innocence, your beauty, your wholeness. And from that place, you create more freely, serve more generously, live more joyfully. You can still grow, you can still change, but you do it from joy, not from shame, from inspiration, not from fear, from love, not from lack. Let's play with a metaphor. Imagine you have been carrying around a mirror covered in dust. Every time you look at it, you say, "Something is wrong with me." But the truth is, there's nothing wrong with the reflection. It's the dust that clouds it. The dust is old criticism, old judgments, old stories. And you, my dear, have the power to wipe it clean. And when you do, what do you see? Not someone broken, not someone lacking. You see light, you see beauty, you see yourself. So let me ask you again, what if you stopped trying to fix yourself and started loving yourself instead? What if the very thing you've been chasing has been inside you all along? Let's anchor this with affirmation. Say it with me. I am not a problem to solve. I am a presence to embrace. Again, I am not a problem to solve. I am a presence to embrace. And once more, with strength, I am not a problem to solve. I am a presence to embrace. Yes, 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 that is the truth your soul has been longing for. My dear, life is not asking you to prove your worth. Life is inviting you to express it. You don't need to earn love. You are love. You don't need to chase enoughness. You are enough. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to remember yourself. And every time you speak these truths, every time you choose self-kindness over self-criticism, you come a little closer to home. So today, let's decide together. No more fixing. No more proving. No more waiting for worthiness. From this moment forward, we choose love. We choose remembrance. We choose truth. And the truth is simple, yet so powerful. You are already enough. You always were. You always will be. Have you ever felt, my dear, as though life was some great test you had to pass? As though every choice, every mistake, every moment was being graded on an invisible scorecard? Oh yes, I know that feeling well, because so many of us were raised with it. We carry the weight of, am I doing enough? Am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? As if life is a strict teacher with red ink in hand. But here is the truth. Life is not a test. Life is a gift. Isn't that a freeing thought? You see, when you live as if life is a test, You live in constant fear of failing. You measure yourself against impossible standards. You keep waiting for the gold star, the approval, the sign that says you finally passed. But my dear, there is no exam, there is no grade, there is only the present moment. Life is not asking you to prove anything, it is asking you to be here now. The purpose of life is not perfection. The purpose of life is presence. Think of a flower. Does the rose bloom in order to prove it is worthy? No. It simply blooms because blooming is its nature. It does not apologize for the way it opens. It does not rush to match the lily. It does not compare itself to the daisy. It stands in the sunlight and allows itself to be what it already island. You are the same. You are not here to prove. You are here to unfold. You are not here to pass. You are here to live. And isn't it interesting that the more we chase perfection, the more life slips through our fingers. We are so busy rehearsing, fixing, proving that we miss the beauty of this breath, this sunrise, this moment. But when you stop treating life as a test, you start receiving it as the miracle it island. So let me ask you gently, what would change if you stopped trying to pass and started trying to be present? Would your shoulders drop? Would your heart soften? Would you finally taste the sweetness that has been here all along? Let's anchor this with affirmation. Say it softly with me. Life is not a test. Life is a gift. Again, life is not a test. Life is a gift. And once more, with a smile, life is not a test. Life is a gift. Doesn't that feel like fresh air in your lungs? Doesn't that feel like freedom? My dear, you do not have to earn the right to bloom. You are already blooming. You do not have to earn the right to belong. You already belong. You do not have to earn the right to live. You are here, and that is enough. And so, my dear, if life is not a test to be passed, but a gift to be received, then the next step is clear. To truly live, you must begin to love yourself. And not in some faraway future when you've lost the weight, healed every wound, or achieved every goal, but here, now, exactly as you are. Because self-love is trusting the flow of life. To love yourself is to stop fighting yourself. Have you noticed how much energy you spend in battle with your own mind? You criticize your body, you second-guess your choices, you rehearse your mistakes again and again. It is as if you are both the judge and the accused, trapped in an endless courtroom inside your head. And what does that create? Anxiety, shame, exhaustion. Oh yes, I know how that feels. But my dear, life does not ask you to be at war with yourself. Life invites you to make peace. Let me remind you of something gentle and true. The universe knows what it's doing, even when you don't. Just as the tide knows when to rise, just as the sun knows when to set, just as the seed knows when to sprout, there is a greater rhythm guiding your life. And when you trust that rhythm, when you allow yourself to rest in it, you discover that you don't have to control everything. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know every answer right now. Isn't that a relief? Self-love means trusting that where you are is not a mistake. Love yourself in this chapter, not only in the one you dream of. Love yourself in the pause, in the confusion, in the becoming. Because the truth is, you are not only lovable when you arrive, you are lovable every step of the journey. Let's pause and speak to ourselves with kindness. Place a hand over your heart and whisper softly, I am safe to let go of self-judgment. Again, I am safe to let go of self-judgment. And one more time, like a promise, I am safe to let go of self-judgment. Do you feel the tenderness in those words? That is the beginning of peace. Now, I want to paint a picture for you. Imagine a river. Have you ever stood by a riverbank and watched the water flow? The current moves steadily, carrying leaves, branches, even entire logs downstream. The river never forces. It doesn't scold the stone for being in the way. It simply flows around it, over it, through it. That is what self-love feels like. It is trusting that life will carry you, even when the path bends, even when obstacles appear. You don't need to thrash against the current. You don't need to control the water. You need only to trust the flow. And yes, I know, some of you may be thinking, but Louise, what if I let go and everything falls apart? Oh, sweetheart, hear me clearly. When you let go, things don't fall apart. They fall into place. Because when you stop clinging to judgment, when you release the need to control, you create space for miracles. Love flows where judgment once blocked. Guidance flows where fear once tightened. Peace flows where criticism once shouted. Let's talk about the inner critic for a moment. That voice that says, you should have done better. You'll never get it right. You're not enough. Have you noticed it never rests? No matter what you achieve, it always finds something else to criticize. That's because it's not truth. It's just an old habit of thought. And habits can be changed. Instead of feeding that critic, try speaking to yourself the way you would to a child you adore. Would you look into a child's eyes and say, you're never enough? No, you would say, you're wonderful. You're growing. You're learning. I love you. That is what self-love sounds like. So let's practice together. Say with me, I am learning to love myself where I am. Again, I am learning to love myself where I am. One more time. I am learning to love myself where I am. Yes, yes, yes. Isn't that freeing? And let's take it deeper. Self-love is not only an affirmation, it is a practice. It shows up in the way you rest, the way you nourish yourself, the way you forgive yourself when you stumble. It shows up in choosing not to overextend when your body is tired. It shows up in saying no when your heart longs for peace. It shows up in celebrating small victories instead of dismissing them. Every choice rooted in kindness is an act of self-love. Think again of the river. Each time you let go of judgment, each time you choose kindness, it is as if you place yourself gently back into the current, and the current carries you forward. You don't have to push the water. You don't have to drag the riverbed. You only have to allow yourself to be carried. That is trust. That is love. That is freedom. So let me ask you now, where in your life are you still fighting yourself? Where are you holding on to judgment, criticism, or shame? And what might happen if you released it even for a moment? What would it feel like to place that burden down and simply say, I am safe, I am loved, I am enough? Let's anchor this with affirmation. Repeat after me. I trust the flow of my life. Again, I trust the flow of my life. And once more, stronger, I trust the flow of my life. Isn't that wonderful? My dear, self-love is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming present. It is not about fixing what's wrong. It is about embracing what is right. It is not about forcing change. It is about allowing growth. And when you live this way, your heart softens, your mind clears, your life opens. You discover that love was never something to earn. It was always something to remember. So today, let us decide. No more fighting ourselves. No more endless fixing. No more living in judgment. From this moment, we choose love. We choose trust. We choose flow. Because to love yourself is to trust that the universe knows what it's doing, and to trust that you belong exactly where you are. All right, my dear, let's continue together. If self-love is trusting the flow of life, then the question becomes, how do we practice this every single day? Because love is not just a thought, it is a practice. It is something we return to again and again until it becomes natural, until it becomes the very air we breathe. One of the most powerful practices is what I call mirror work. Have you ever looked into your own eyes in the mirror, not to check your hair or your makeup, but to truly see yourself? At first, it can feel strange, even uncomfortable. Old voices may rise up and say, you're not enough. You don't deserve love. And that's exactly why the practice is so powerful. When you look into your own eyes and whisper, I love you, I accept you, I forgive you, I am enough, you begin to heal those old wounds. You begin to replace those old voices with new truths. Let's try it now, even if only in your imagination. See yourself in the mirror, breathe, and say softly, I love you, I accept you, I am enough. How does that feel? Maybe tender, maybe raw, maybe liberating. That is healing. Another practice is daily affirmations. Words are seeds, and every time you repeat a loving affirmation, you plant a seed of truth in the garden of your mind. Say to yourself while brushing your teeth, while cooking, while driving, I am safe, I am loved, I am worthy. You don't have to believe it fully yet. You only need to be willing. Willingness cracks the door and light begins to shine in. And remember, my dear, a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. That is how change happens. Now, let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is one of the purest forms of self-love because it shifts your attention from what you think is missing to what is already here. Each morning, write down 3 simple things you're thankful for. Your breath, your bed, your courage to keep going. At night, bless yourself for the effort you gave. I did my best today, and that is enough. Isn't that gentle? Isn't that loving? Gratitude calms the nervous system, softens the heart, and reminds you of your worth in the smallest, sweetest ways. Self-love also shows up in how you treat your body. Instead of criticizing it, bless it. When you eat, whisper, "This food nourishes me with love." When you bathe, say, "This water cleanses not only my body, but my spirit." When you rest, affirm, "Rest is sacred, rest is healing, rest is love." Your body listens to every word you speak. So speak kindly, speak gently, speak lovingly, and don't forget the practice of saying no. Every time you say no to what drains you, you are saying yes to yourself. You are saying, "My peace matters, my joy matters, my energy matters." That is self-love in action. So let me ask you gently, which of these practices will you begin today? Mirror work, gratitude, affirmations, saying no? Whatever you choose, remember, you don't need to do it perfectly. You only need to do it sincerely. And sincerity, my dear, is enough. Let's anchor this with affirmation. Say softly, "I am safe to love myself daily." Again, "I am safe to love myself daily." And one more time with a smile, "I am safe to love myself daily." Self-love is not a one-time event. It is a daily relationship. It is choosing again and again to be kind to yourself, to trust the flow of life, to remember that you are already enough. And as you practice, as you return to these little rituals, you will notice your heart softens, your body relaxes, your life feels lighter, and that, my dear, is the miracle of self-love. My dear, let me empower you with this truth. You do not need to keep fixing yourself to be worthy of love, joy, or growth. You have been taught for so long that self-love is indulgent, that acceptance is passive, that if you stop criticizing yourself, you will never improve. But that, my dear, is the great illusion, because true growth never comes from shame, it comes from love. True transformation does not come from pushing yourself harder, it comes from honoring yourself deeper. Self-love is not passive, it is the very foundation for all growth that lasts. When you accept yourself as you are, you create the safety, the trust, the soil where growth becomes possible. Without acceptance, every step feels like punishment. With acceptance, every step feels like celebration. Isn't that a beautiful shift? Imagine the difference between saying, I must fix myself because I am wrong, and saying, I choose to grow because I am loved. One path leads to exhaustion, the other to joy. Let's pause here and speak new truths into our hearts. Whisper with me, I am willing to release the need to criticize myself. Again, I am willing to release the need to criticize myself. And once more, with softness, I am willing to release the need to criticize myself. Do you feel how those words relax the body? Criticism tightens, love softens. Now let's affirm again. I grow through love, not pressure. Say it stronger. I grow through love, not pressure. And one more time, I grow through love, not pressure. Yes, yes, yes. This is the soil where new life begins. You see, the self-improvement trap is endless. If you believe you are broken, then no achievement will ever heal that belief. You can change your body, your job, your relationship, but if the core thought remains, I am not enough, nothing outside can make you feel whole. But self-acceptance breaks the cycle. Acceptance says, I am enough as I am, and from that enoughness, I choose to grow. Growth becomes a joyful unfolding, not a desperate scramble. So let me ask you softly, what would shift if you approached growth as a celebration, not a correction? Wouldn't you breathe easier? Wouldn't your heart feel lighter? Wouldn't you finally feel safe enough to blossom in your own timing? Let me offer you a metaphor. Think of yourself as a beautiful painting, not unfinished, not broken, but always unfolding. Each brush stroke adds to the masterpiece. Each chapter of your life brings depth and color. You don't scold a painting for not being complete yet. You honor the process. You admire the evolution. You delight in what is already there. You, my dear, are that painting, and your life is the canvas. Isn't that wonderful? When you stop trying to be better, you start being more you, and that changes everything. Confidence doesn't come from achieving perfection. It comes from knowing you are enough. Creativity doesn't awaken under pressure. It awakens in the safety of enoughness. When you accept yourself, you no longer perform for approval. You no longer twist yourself into shapes to be liked, validated, or applauded. You become your own sanctuary. You rest in the knowing, I am already worthy, I am already whole, I am already loved, and oh, the freedom that brings. Imagine walking into a room not with the anxious thought, will they accept me? But with the peaceful knowing, I accept myself. Imagine creating art, building a business, nurturing relationships, not to prove your value, but to express your joy. Imagine making choices not from fear, but from alignment. That is what happens when you live from enoughness. Let's take a breath together. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, I am enough, and I am safe to grow from love. Again, I am enough, and I am safe to grow from love. And once more, with a smile, I am enough, and I am safe to grow from love. Doesn't that feel like relief? Living from enoughness means you no longer chase perfection. You no longer measure your worth in achievements. You begin to savor the present moment. You allow life to unfold with grace. You trust the timing of your journey. You stop criticizing and start appreciating. And as you do, life responds. Opportunities come more easily. Relationships feel more nourishing. Creativity blossoms. Because the energy of enoughness is magnetic. So let me ask you, my dear, what part of yourself are you ready to accept today? What criticism are you ready to release? What truth are you ready to remember? Write it down, speak it aloud, plant it in your heart, and return to it whenever the old voices rise again. Let's anchor this new identity with affirmations. Repeat after me. I am not a problem to fix. I am a masterpiece unfolding. Again, I am not a problem to fix. I am a masterpiece unfolding. And once more, I am not a problem to fix. I am a masterpiece unfolding. Yes, yes, yes. Now say, I don't have to chase. I attract by being in tune with my truth. Again, stronger. I don't have to chase. I attract by being in tune with my truth. And once more, with a smile, I don't have to chase. I attract by being in tune with my truth. Isn't that empowering? Isn't that freeing? My dear, the journey from self-improvement to self-acceptance is the journey from fear to love, from pressure to peace, from proving to being. It is the journey home to yourself. And as you settle into this new way of being, may you always remember, you are enough. You are loved. You are safe. And life flows through you with ease and grace. My dear, as we close our time together, I want you to breathe in these words and let them sink deep into your heart. You were never broken, not once, not for a moment. You may have been hurt, you may have been misled, you may have believed unkind stories about yourself, but broken? No, you are whole. You are here. You are loved, not for who you might become someday, not for who you think you need to be to earn love, but for who you already are in this moment. So let this truth be your anchor. You are already enough. You don't need to keep proving, fixing, or striving for worthiness. You are worthy because you exist. You are lovable because you breathe. You are enough simply because you are here. Isn't that wonderful? From this day forward, I invite you to go out and live like you believe it. Let your choices reflect your enoughness. Let your relationships grow from your enoughness. Let your creativity flow from your enoughness. No more waiting, no more conditions, just love, presence, and truth. So I bless you now. May you walk with ease. May you rest in peace. May you shine with joy. And may you always remember, in every breath, in every step, that life loves you, and so do I.